Hi, I'm happy to connect with you all during this New Year time. I want to wish you a happy New Year and give you an update about how things are turning out in this post pandemic world. In general, about what is happening in our industry, and in particular, what is happening in our company, Salem Stones. I came to you 18 months ago in the midst of pandemic and clearly detailed how pandemic is disrupting our world. There was lockdown here, lockdown overseas where we get the stones from, the supply chain disruption, and rising international freight surcharges. During that time, I explained how the rising freight charges from overseas is the biggest challenge we face. As the demand increased and there was not enough availability of containers to move, the price continued to increase. Pre-pandemic, we would pay something like $4,000 for a container from India and China to here, continued to rise, and at some point we paid about $18,000 per container. To offset these charges, Salem Stones came up with a surcharge called international freight surcharge to cover these costs. And you might have noticed that we started with something like 4 cents a pound and increased and reached a point where it reached about 26 cents a pound. This was the biggest challenge we faced. And at that point, I promised all of you that when these freight charges comes down, Salem Stones will reduce or remove these charges completely. To live up to our promise, currently we have seen these rates have dropped significantly. What was $18,000 for some of the Chinese containers, it is settling down even less than $5,000. India containers haven't reached that low, but we have seen some significant decline. So what we are doing effective Jan 3rd is we'll completely remove our international freight surcharge for Chinese products. For India products, we will reduce the charges from 20 cents to 10 cents a pound. If this trend continues, we expect the India surcharge to go away as well. In addition to reducing freight surcharges, I want to address how things are getting better in lead times. For import stones, pre-pandemic, Salem Stones' promise was that if you ordered a custom stone, we would deliver the stone within 120 days. That increased all the way to 180 days during the pandemic. The good news is now we are back again to 120 days. In the last 3 months, we have consistently delivered the custom stones from overseas in less than 120 days. As far as the stock items are concerned, we would take about 3 weeks before we shipped a stock stone to you during the pandemic time. Now it is going back to 1 week as well. And these are the signs that things are getting back to normal in the post-pandemic time. While we see positive signs in getting the import products from overseas in terms of reduced freight surcharges and reduced lead times, we continue to face challenges with domestic products. Currently, to get Georgia Grey from Elberton, it still takes anywhere from 6 to 9 months. The North American pink that we get from Canada is not far behind. So in 2023, it is fair to say that these high lead times will remain because the manufacturers in Alberton, Barrie, and Canada, they have huge backlog from orders during the pandemic, and it might get better later part of 23, but I expect that these long lead times will continue in domestic products. The biggest challenge is in gray because that is the highest seller in domestic stores. To offset this challenge, we are bringing a couple of different gray material from overseas. One is India gray, which looks very similar to Barrie gray, and we will carry a significant inventory of India gray. We are also bringing another Georgia gray looking gray from overseas. We will have inventory of this material in all popular shapes and sizes that we use Georgia gray for. This way, you can educate your families that if they don't want to wait for a longer time, this will be a great alternative and we'll be happy to send you the samples in these colors. In summary, we are returning back to pre-pandemic times with some normalcy. You and me both, we grew some gray hair during this pandemic time. But we are incredibly excited about what is next. Before pandemic, Salem Stones used to come up with new monument designs every year. We stopped that during the pandemic as we were busy facing the huge demand. We'll start that again, and we are working on some interesting monument designs. Our purchasing department is working with granite quarries to come up with more granite selections for you. We might have sold same few colors in large quantities during the pandemic. Now we are increasing the breadth of our inventory that will give you more product selection. Due to uncertainty with our costs from suppliers and the freight rates, Salem Stones came to you with price increases several times during this pandemic. But now we are at a better place. We have more certainty about what we are going to pay the suppliers and the certainty in the freight rates. We are not going to increase our price going into January. Every year during this time we sent a new price book with some nominal price increases. But this year we are not going to increase our price for any of our import products. Not only on the pricing, we are excited about our continued investments in technology and improving Salem Inspire. You have used our customer portal for viewing inventory, designing monuments, and placing orders. Very shortly, you will also be able to use our bronze design tool where you can design and place orders for bronze. Throughout the pandemic, we have been very transparent about the challenges we faced in getting the products and delivering to you without any issues. Now I want to share this good news that things are getting back to normal. From Salem Stones, you can expect reduced lead times, no price increases for vast majority of the products we sell, and freight surcharges vanishing away. I am excited about how we can give you the better customer experience to you in this new year. Happy New Year to you all.